remember I was up here with like Shaq Kids, Lil Timmy, Lil GP, Alonso's son. You know, we just up here playing around, not even watching the game, just up here just shooting while the game's going on. And then to be here now is just crazy. You know, I wish that I was here early in my career. You know, it was obviously growing up, watching my brother, watching D-Wade. I already knew about the Heat culture and what to expect. So, you know, I'm just happy that I'm finally here. You know, just one of those surreal moments.
What are some of the advantages to like being able to finish a game closer to your bench versus on the opposite side?
I mean, the play calling advantage when the offense is in front of you, it's easier to call plays. It's also easier to call out defensive coverages and the opponent plays and stuff like that. But the opponent gets to choose that. So when you're on the road, you get to choose. And it's kind of in the spirit of, you know, what I've already talked about. We do it differently every game based on game circumstance. So we don't have a static way of doing it. You know, we'll put our offense in front of the bench against certain matchups, certain opponents, certain nights, and we'll put our defense. And the main reason for that is, again, not letting our own team get comfortable with one or the other, because, you know, if they're coming in here tonight and they flip the court, and we're never used to that, we're not exposed to that enough, it could be uncomfortable for us. The time that caught my attention was in Game 6 of the Western Conference Finals, the year Golden State beat us, the Klay Thompson three-point game. They flipped the court in Game 6. They had the whole season they had done the same way, and then they flipped the court in that game, and it just had a different feel. I wasn't doing anything. I just had the best seat in the house, but it had a different feel to it. I still don't know why they did it, but for me it had a different feel, and I was like, you know what? I from then on I just started flipping it more randomly, because I just think conditioning your team to be able to handle both is important. So because of that, I couldn't care less, you know, where our offense and defense is, because our teams learned over time that, you know, we could do either. Yep, see ya.
Steve, I know you don't know for sure when Chris will be back, and maybe he'll have a minute restriction, but have you begun to think about what the effect would be on the rotation? Does he come right back in and get similar minutes?
Yeah, it's something we talk about all the time. I think, you know, once we're fully healthy, we're going to have a numbers crunch literally every night. You know, and we're going to have to decide who's closing each half. It'll probably be fluid based on how the game's going. But I think the only way it can work is if everybody buys in, everybody accepts the fact that every night could be a little different. But you know, we can't wait to get Chris back. Obviously, you know, he's been one of our best players, and he's in all of our best lineups. And you know, great player, great point guard. Does so many good things for us. So it's great to you know, have the option to close with him. Just like it's great to have the option to close with, you know, several other guys too. And so it won't be easy, but it's, like I said, as long as everybody is committed to just winning the game and recognizing that every night could be a little different, then I think we're going to be in good shape.
How close?
I think he'll come back on the road trip at some point. So hopefully, you know, sooner rather than later next week.
Hey, Steve, I got the chance to spend some time with your son down in Santa Cruz, and I had a couple questions about him. What's this season been like for you, watching him in that role, and has there been any advice that you've given him?
Not really. You know, he does his job, and I do mine. He will come up once the G League season ends. He'll come and be part of our staff. That's what we've done traditionally with the you know, the head coach of our G League team. But there's the main talk between us is just regarding the guys who go back and forth. You know, when we brought Lester up and started playing him, you know, I had some questions for Nick about Lester, and we talk about our two-way guys quite a bit. But yeah, he doesn't need my advice.
Steve, what are your thoughts on the newest signee? You got the guy named Pat Spencer. What can you tell us about him?
Pat's great. We're really excited. We had him in camp last year. Very interesting story. One of the all-time great lacrosse players and in college lacrosse history, and then I played at Northwestern. Played basketball at Northwestern after his lacrosse career finished, and we really like him. He plays hard and just understands the game. Shooting it really well this year for Santa Cruz. And he was injured most of last year, so he's healthy now, and so we're excited to get him on the two-way, and also very excited to get Lester, on the main roster. He's really worked hard over the years and put the time in, and he's played well for us, and he's really earned this. So we're excited for him.
I've got just one more on Nick. Given his last name, and he admitted to me like he deleted his Twitter when he got the job because he was nervous about blowback.
Yeah.
How do you
I
think
would
he's
recommend
handled
that to all of you, by the way. Sorry.
Just delete him now?
Yeah.
How do you think he's handled that aspect of it? And were you concerned at all when he got the job and it was announced?
No, I mean, I think you kind of know that getting into this world, and it's funny. I had 3 kids, and Nick was the only one really interested in my basketball career growing up. He would go to every game. The other 2 were, they were much more interested in other stuff, and but he's kind of grown up with it. He was a ball boy in San Antonio for us, and he's sat and watched the NBA forever, and so he gets it. If you're the head coach, you're going to get criticized. That's all part of it, and it's good for all of our coaches who go through the G League to kind of feel the the game pressure, get used to all of the different stuff, the media, pre and post game, the reaction, understanding that you're going to make decisions that go wrong all the time. It's part of it, and recognizing that you're never as good as the praise, you're never as bad as the criticism, and none of it really matters that much anyway. It's all about what you do with your group, with the players and the coaching staff.
Steve, just to go back to the rotations. With the rotations, as a coach, would you rather have a set rotation that can close games, or would you rather have more options to make more decisions during games?
I think every coach would rather have it just be really clean and easy. These are your 5 guys, and this is how every game is going to go, and you just ride with that. That makes it really easy. But it's not always that way, and this year it's not that way at all. And so we have to figure out from game to game, how we want to close. And sometimes it sort of makes itself pretty clear. The game does, and you see how everything's going, and you just ride with a group that's going well. But sometimes it's not clear at all, and those are the hard nights where you have to make a decision when it's very blurred and there's no easy answer, and you got to ride with that and live with the results.
Sounds like as part of the welcome back, you talked to the team a lot about like the standings, where you guys sit, the target of probably the 6th seed, you'd say. How focused are you on that? Are you watching, I guess the rest of the conference as games restart, and where do you how do you view the challenge ahead for you guys to climb these standings?
Well, I'm excited about it. I feel like this has been the best version of us now the last couple of weeks. But I'm excited to get Chris back. The first 35, 40 games of the year, it felt like the strength of our team was our second unit, led by Chris and Dario. And so I think we have a real chance here now to put together, when Chris gets back, the best possible 48-minute effort that we can between the starting group that has found success and Chris and Klay now really anchoring that second unit. I'm excited about it. I think we have a shot to really make some hay in terms of the conference standings, and Yeah, we watched the standings every day, and I wanted to make sure the players knew, what the goal was and where we were.
Are you highlighting the 6th spot like that's the target?
I mentioned it to them. I said, that's obviously the goal, just to avoid the play-in. But if you go for it and you end up 7th, you're still in a way better spot than you would be in 10th. So we have to just put our best foot forward. And 29 games left. A lot of them, like tonight, against teams that are ahead of us. So a lot of important games. It's fun.
Steve,
Dan.
kind of along Anthony's question. I think if I remember correctly, you guys opened with the Lakers last year out of the break, and it was sort of this notion that it was going to be a sprint to the finish in the All-Star because everybody was so jumbled. As you guys kind of want to put this run together, how do you balance that desire to move up the standings with sort of the recognition that you have a little bit of an older team in places, and at what point does the sprint actually become a sprint where you don't worry about that stuff as much?
Well, I think the good thing for us is that our young players have really emerged, and they've helped us become the team we are now. So I don't feel like I'm in a position now where I've got to decide between, am I overextending Steph and Draymond, or am I not, playing Kuminga or, the young guys enough? All of that has sort of mixed in together now to the point where everybody's contributing to winning. And, JK and Brandon in particular have been, so important for us the last month. And the depth of our team is, I think, one of our strengths. And so I don't look at this as, this is a sprint and we're going to ride Steph and Dre. We're going to keep playing the same type of minutes that we've been playing. We have to do a better job closing games. That's the bottom line. We've put ourselves in position to win a lot of games that we haven't finished, and whatever that means, that's what we've got to do.
Speaking of finishing, in the last couple of games, even you guys had tough fourth quarters. Clippers come back and win. The Jazz come back and make it really tight. In both cases, you're a top 5 rebounding team, but in the fourth quarter rebounding, you guys are last in the league in the past couple of games. So what do you think happens there, and how do you address that and fix that? Because you go from being a really good rebounding team early, and then the fourth quarter it really fades.
Yeah, Utah was sending everybody to the glass, and they're pretty big and athletic. But watching the tape, there were 3 or 4 plays where we didn't box out. So it just comes down to trying to limit our mistakes in multiple ways, whether it's turnovers, which we had a few of in that game, or shot goes up and you don't go hit a body. Those are the kinds of things that we're going to continue to emphasize, because the only way to close games is to handle all the little stuff.